Hey friends, so I wanted to chat with you all today about how perfectionism stalls momentum. So if you're looking to have momentum, why does momentum matter? Momentum matters for us pursuing our dreams and our goals, starting to shift how we're eating, feeling better and energized in our bodies. There's so many reasons that momentum really matters. But when you don't have momentum, it can feel like, oh my God, I'm so stuck. I can't get anywhere. I can't move forward. I can't really make any changes in my life. So the conversation today is really about how perfectionism is one of the things that stalls momentum, and stay to the end and I will share with you about how it is that you actually start to generate momentum. Okay, so let's have this conversation. So first, what is perfectionism? Why does it get in the way for so many of us? So perfectionism can show up in lots of different ways where you just can't even do anything because you're so worried about what other people think and actually getting it right. So it came up for me the most when I was a reporter. I used to be so freaked out all the time about the stories that I wrote that when I would spend all night after writing a story, going line by line over the whole thing, calling sources late at night and really fretting and stressing about every single line, whether there might be a correction in there. And if there was, so in newspapers, you actually have to write corrections if there is an error in the story. And in the morning, I would wake up feeling this weight on my chest. And then I would go into the office and I'd be so nervous for that blinking red light on my phone telling me that there was a voicemail. I didn't care who it was. If it was a source or a reader, but if someone was calling to complain about my story, I was so anxious and so nervous. So this cycle happened to me over and over again. So this perfectionism really kept me from moving forward. It kept me from taking risks with my writing. It kept me from really feeling bold around the choices I was making. And so when I got to a point where I was ready to leave journalism and I was like, all right, it's time for me to go teach yoga and to have a different career and a different life, this perfectionism then froze me. I really was convinced I was going to be the worst yoga teacher on the planet. No doubt the worst on the planet. And that if I went to this new career, I would absolutely fail. So what did I learn and what did I have to start to learn was actually to become friends with failure. So I had to start to learn at that time in my life that I, Nicole the human, am not a failure, that I am actually wonderful and have lots to contribute to the world, and that something of mine had failed. So it was yoga teaching for a while. When I wrote my first books, I really also had to become very friendly with failure because who knows how the books were going to do. And I had to realize that the performance of the books and how well they did had nothing to do with me, the human. Me, the human, is whole and complete and awesome and beautiful in all these different ways. And that actually the books themselves were a project, and the project itself had a life of its own. It could do well or it could not do well. Becoming friends with failure became really important, and launching my work-life balance coaching business and continues to be important to this day, because when perfectionism comes in, it can really take over in so many different ways. And I'm someone where it comes up for me all the time when I'm doing new things with my business or working with clients or coming into new relationships. So perfectionism, what happens is it keeps us from doing the thing that you know to do. And really at the heart of perfectionism is fear. So when you have that going on and you're like, oh my gosh, I have this fear, acknowledging and seeing it is actually the first step to saying, okay, now I see that fear is happening for me right now. Now, how do I get the momentum to start doing the thing that I'm actually really interested in doing? So this is the important steps, is like, how do you start to do that? And it's actually to start taking imperfect action. So I've done this many times. Like I would teach yoga classes that were not that great. I would write chapters of my book that weren't really that awesome. And all the time I had to keep taking imperfect action. Even if I didn't believe in myself, I had to believe just enough that I could keep going, and I would keep pursuing it, and I would keep pursuing the goal, even when I was really struggling and stressed. So this was happening for me recently. I've been pitching a lot of television, which has been really fun and quite challenging, because a lot of times you don't hear anybody tell you anything once you're actually pitching and sharing about what it is you care about. And I had to really keep believing in my own worthiness and my own voice and sharing with it consistently in the world, even when I was hearing literally crickets, nothing. And so that I just kept going, and I kept believing, and I kept taking imperfect action. And then on top of that, I also gathered people around me who help support me. So I have coaches, I have networks, I have other people in communities who really help me keep going forward. And that is actually such a key to starting to generate momentum for yourself. So if you're looking to say, start to eat healthier and you care about that and you're like, I want to eat more nutritious food, it makes a really big difference for you to say, okay, today, I'm going to just take one meal. Today, this meal, I'm going to add a few more vegetables today. And then you're starting to take that imperfect action. You're believing that if you do this, you're going to feel more energetic, that you're actually going to start to feel a difference in your body. And on top of it, if you start to gather people around you who care about eating that way and are a like-minded community, it's going to make such a big difference for you starting to pursue that particular goal or dream. If you're a high achieving career woman, like the ones I work with who are starting to look at their purpose and their calling, it is starting to take imperfect action to understand the mental habits that are going on. Energetically, where are you? If you have no energy at all, it's going to be impossible for you to start to pursue your purpose. So can you start to take that imperfect action of self-care and really starting to set some boundaries for yourself around your time and how you spend your energy, and looking at what's coming in? Like, are you spending all your time scrolling rather than really reading or reaching out to people in a community who could actually support you? So these are the keys for you starting to generate that momentum, taking the imperfect action, having the community around you, and then just believing enough that you're going to keep moving forward. And if you keep doing that, that's how you start to generate the momentum. That's how you start to generate a change and a shift in the experience that you're having. And that's going to be the thing that helps you release the perfectionism and actually get momentum back. Okay, so if that made sense to you and you're resonating with this, drop a comment below, like, and subscribe, and take a look, and I will see you all again so soon.